before we get stuck into the kind of interactive stuff, I'd like to just kind of introduce you to something. So millions of years ago, we started as hunters. Now hunters are nomadic. It's eat or be eaten. But after discovering how to harvest 10,000 years of evolution kind of turned us into farmers. Now, from our perspective, we think often in the product industry, a lot of organizations and a lot of product teams can be very much divided between these two. They're either farmers or they're hunters. But who's the biggest farmer of them all? Or who was the biggest farmer of them all?
Imagine the perfect video store. It would have a great selection, right? Right! Over 10,000 videos. 3 evening rentals, so no rush, no hassle. Fast checkout. 24-hour quick drop return. Open late every night. Well, the perfect video store.
Welcome to Blockbuster Video.
Is popping up all over the country. There's one near you.
Blockbuster Video. Wow, what a difference.
Wow.
So retro.
So retro. Now, I don't know for you guys, but I pretty much grew up in Blockbuster or some kind of variation of it. It was a huge VHS rental store. Can anyone remember Blockbuster? So they first opened back in '85, and for a solid 15 years, they pretty much dominated this space. They had over 90,000 employees and they had 9,000 stores, which was pretty incredible. But then entered the world of online streaming. So Netflix launched to the world in '98, and they became the first online DVD rental subscription service. Something Blockbuster struggled with, to be quite honest, for a long time. But then by 2005, they were shipping over 1 million DVDs a day, and in 2007, they launched their first online service, which sort of revolutionized the space. More importantly, though, something that Netflix bought was basically they were kind of a disruptor. They were seen as a disruptor. Funnily enough, though, Blockbuster actually had an opportunity to acquire them for very measly sort of $50,000 American dollars at the time, but they swiftly declined the offer because by this point, Blockbuster being who they were very much stuck in their ways. They've been going for a long time, billion-dollar industry. But now Netflix is obviously has over 150 million subscribers worldwide and is the online service that people often refer to when they think of TV these days. So just to reiterate in a nice little graph for you, we have over here, oh, hang on a sec. There we go, got a pointer. Woo! 2.5 billion they were worth at this point, and they sort of slowly rising up into the early noughties, but then obviously straight down and suddenly declined very rapidly, just at the point where Netflix was very much pushing forward and has continued to do so. So essentially, Blockbusters really did miss out there. Often, other people within the organization, other organizations, other companies also miss out. So these are other companies that overlooked market leaders. So Atari could have bought Apple out for very little money. Same, obviously, we've heard of Blockbusters. Excite could have bought Google. MySpace could have bought Facebook, and EDS could have bought Microsoft, all for very little money. We're not talking much, but they all said no. And obviously, now these are the new kind of market leaders, but they were seen as sort of the disruptors of their time. And obviously, in today's age, you could say these examples are a little old now, but obviously, people like Uber redefined how we think about transportation. Twitch redefined how people game online, if you've heard of Twitch. And then obviously Deliveroo, which is a service that a lot of us use to order food, kind of redefined the way we think about food and how we order it and how it gets delivered. So lots of disruptors coming around and changing things up, which is interesting. So new innovations, can be subtle, but successful teams can miss out. So here are the traits that we can ascribe to farmers. So they're loyal, they're consistent, and they're disciplined. All great things. But on the flip side of that, by being loyal, essentially you can become very protective over your product. You can become complacent by keeping things too consistent. And also you can move into this false thing of being very repetitive because you're so disciplined. So you're not really thinking outside the box because you've got a product that already exists and is already doing quite well. You're not really thinking about the future. Whereas Netflix was very much the hunter, it was the disruptor, came in, they were curious, they were insatiable, they were destructive. And although, of course, with that comes its own side effects. So by being curious, you can quite easily get distracted. By being insatiable, you can get dissatisfied, but you can also get reckless by being destructive. But ultimately, these are still good traits to have, and these are traits that we should think about when we have our own product, or managing our own product even. So for us, the hunter equals the disruptor. Now, some interesting stats here. Lots of organizations like to think of themselves as being innovative. And when you look around the market, everyone's like, yeah, we're innovating, it's all good. Such a buzzword that often organizations say. And 97% of CEOs, when asked from the biggest brands, said, yeah, it was one of their top priorities. And they were very much looking towards it and doing it. But in reality, when the question was actually posed to the employees, they were like 50% only really agreed with that. Half of them hadn't even heard of an innovation program, certainly wasn't using it. So there is a real juxtapose between what people are saying, certainly from higher up, and then what's actually happening within organizations. So how can we encourage disruptive thinking? Well, top level, there are some simple tactics and methods that you can do yourself. One of them is assuming you're always incorrect. So don't suddenly think just because you have something that's working, it's necessarily going to last. Be more open to new ideas. So constantly think about different ways of doing things, get fresh people in, try and keep yourself open to discussion and thoughts. Reward and encourage dissent. Case study emerging trends, something not a lot of people do. They don't try and think about what's happening around them when they should do. And then also embrace diversity. So we're going to just talk about some traps of success. So what is it about people who farm, about product teams who farm? Why do they do it? So again, as I've said, their product proves a success. They think, wow, okay, cool, we're doing this. We don't really need any help. We are moving in the right direction. So they very much continue to farm. They already have a strong customer base, so they're not really thinking about the changes in kind of generations and how actually customers change and they grow. And you need to be able to adapt your brand to make sure that you're still appealing for them. You're making money, like Blockbuster's billion-dollar industry. Why would we buy Netflix? Because they didn't believe in DVDs, they didn't believe in an online streaming service. And then they already have a process in place. God, everyone, you go to work in a new organization, they have a solid process in place. It's really difficult to change. And because they think that process works, they just continue to just keep doing that. They become very repetitive over what they're doing. They think about, actually, we could be doing something new, we could be doing something better. And for John and myself, being consultants, one of the issues that we always have going into an organization is trying to change the way that people think, trying to change mindsets, and trying to say that actually there is a better process out there to do things. You just have to be open to it. So when we are busy, it's easier to say no. When we are successful, it's easier to say no. When it's not our department, it's easier to just do nothing. So essentially what we do is we just repeat whatever led to last year's harvest. We had a good year, we're earning some money, let's not think about the future, let's continue to farm. But if anything has been clear from what I've said so far, what should we be doing? If we're not farming, we should be...
I'm not sure, Dom, what should we be doing? We should be more hunter, everyone. So tonight, we want to make you guys better, stronger and faster. Now, to help us get there, we have two options for you, and you get to vote on this, sort of. Option number one is through stats and data and graphs and charts and all the other boring stuff that you get in business type things. And Jeff, dreaming of Jeff. Or we can do it through karate chopping, ice breaking, ass kicking, badness. So guys, do we want to go for Grey Corps or do we want to go Karate Kid? Show of hands. What do you reckon? Karate Kid. Okay, all right, I'm glad you said that. So what we're going to do... first, I'm going to ask you who's seen the Karate Kid. I think Dom already asked, but yes. You've seen it at the back, seen it over there. So for those who haven't seen it, or maybe haven't seen it for a while, we're going to have a quick segment now called Karate Kid in a Nutshell. So, kid comes to town, doesn't know anyone. Kid meets pretty girl, falls in love. Kid meets pretty girl's boyfriend, he's a right dick. Kid finds Japanese guy in a basement who agrees to teach him karate. Japanese guy takes kid to evil guy's dojo and challenges them to fight in a tournament. Makes kid do a set of manual labor tasks, which ultimately, in a roundabout, very subtle way, teach kid how to do karate. Kid wins karate tournament. Kid gets the girl. Old man very happy. That's Karate Kid in a nutshell. So let's have a look at our two kind of dojos. So first up, we got Cobra Kai. Cobra Kai is a farmer. It's run by a very kind of old school karate master. They're very set in their ways. They've got a really outdated way of thinking, slow to adapt, and there's no room for new ideas really within their kind of setup. And then you've got Miyagi-Do, who are kind of the hunter, and they're very much, they're new, they're agile, they're open to new ideas, they're embracing new patterns and techniques for learning, they're driven and they're hungry to succeed. So we think it's more interesting to understand how chaos works and how successful teams kind of respond to change day to day. And it's important to remember that basically almost all innovation kind of happens by making connections between fields that people don't realize, says someone very clever at NASA. And if we think about what Daniel-san is doing with Mr. Miyagi here, he's doing all of these things that he's not really sure why he's doing them or what they mean. But what he's actually doing is creating connections. He's creating patterns and he's learning these tools that he needs to become a champion, basically, and face disruption. So we've got sand the floor, we've got wax on, wax off, paint the fence, paint the house. So essentially, there's some different stages that we can go through to kind of awaken our inner hunter. So if we take the stuff that Don was talking about earlier, the kind of traps of the farmer, so complacency, we want to replace with being insatiable, repetition, we want to be curious, protectiveness, we want to be destructive. And then there's these patterns of opportunity as well. So we've got accelerating, like supercharging our ideas, running ideas in parallel, wanting to do a better version of something. We've got divergence, so thinking about lots of different ideas, not just settling on one idea and being too protective over it. And then bringing those ideas back together and adding value to them as well. And then this one's really important, and this is a big part of tonight, is redirection. So how do we essentially pivot and turn on an idea as well? So what we want to do is kind of capture those ideas and hit the sweet spot in the middle of kind of news and fads and staying up to date with stuff, unrelated ideas to your industry, and then mega trends in your industry and the knowledge of your team, and kind of hit that sweet spot in the middle where we capture that greatness. So kind of counteracting the traps of success, just once again, sort of being curious, being insatiable, being willing to destroy our ideas and start again, asking outsiders for opinions, maybe in different industries as well, and then simulate starting from scratch. So if we go in somewhere and we come into a team and there's already something in place, like imagine if that didn't exist, how could we start again?